When entrusting one person with the care of another, it is essential to choose the caretaker with utmost caution. They must not carry psychological scars or a wretched past that could transform them from a human into an uncontrollable monster, especially when dealing with orphans who have no refuge but a dismal home instead of sleeping on the streets. It is said that the children at the Fairmont Orphanage would rush to their beds at nightfall, fearing the ruthless Mr. Vermont, who showed no mercy to those who defied his orders. Many terrifying events transpired at the orphanage, established in 1873 in the American city of Vermont. The orphanage was inaugurated to serve as a haven for orphans and children without families, and indeed, it took in many dozens of children seeking shelter within its walls. Life, however, does not always go smoothly. After the initial caretakers who protected the residents, Mr. Vermont arrived, imposing his harsh and miserable rules. Those who defied him faced his merciless punishment, leading to the deaths of many children. Children who left the orphanage recounted that in 1944, due to the constant violence inflicted by Mr. Vermont, a man who had endured a traumatic childhood, including sexual abuse by a stepfather and early drug addiction, the children decided to revolt. Knowing that unity was their strength to overcome this life, they devised a plan to catch Mr. Vermont off guard. They struck him on the head with a heavy stick, rendering him unconscious. The children then dragged him to the orphanage's basement, tied a rope around his neck, and as Mr. Vermont regained consciousness, he glared at the frightened children with furious eyes. Despite his resistance, the older children tightened the rope in opposite directions until his tongue protruded, signaling his death. They wrapped his body in a rug from his office and buried him in the orphanage's backyard. After completing their task, they returned to the building and began covering up their actions. Just days later, the children started observing the angry ghost of Mr. Vermont wandering the halls, carrying the stick he once beat them with.